Not sure when to start talking, so I'm just gonna start talking. Hello, my name is Andrew from DataLIVE. You can chat with me in the chat right here, but today I'm gonna need a couple of volunteers, or at the very least just one. Today we're gonna walk through a Silicon Valley Python interview. We're gonna solve it all in 30 minutes, and then you can go on with your day. Thank you for tuning in, those who are watching. In the comment section, hey Anthony, thanks for joining. Do you want to try your hand at this Python question today? And Same solved this question earlier. We're going to, if Same wants to volunteer, he's going to we're going to make the question a little harder if he wants to join. Hector, welcome. While we wait for people to file in, maybe like a 5-minute buffer, we're gonna have a little bit of meatball time. Let me see if I can bring Meatball in here. Meatball! Come here. Come on. Yeah. Alright. It's Meatball. He's wearing a, I love tacos bib. I've never seen him eat a taco before, but boy howdy. So it seems like Same is game. So in about 5 minutes, we'll have him unless anyone else wants to volunteer. Anthony, yes. The lag real time is about like 20 seconds. So I see your answer and I immediately talk, but then there's like a 30-second lag. What's up, Sunak? How's it going? Okay, if you guys are just joining, we are going to start a live coding round. You're going to watch someone basically go through the pleasantries introduction of a Silicon Valley interview. I've had about 20 plus interviews in the Silicon Valley area for dozens, at least a dozen companies here, all data science roles, and moving into this space may seem like there's a ton of transparent or translucent barriers that you might not know exactly what to do with. So those of you that are watching here, we're going to watch Anthony solve this problem. Anthony, I'm going to send you a link to this coder pad. You know what? I'll send everyone this link. There's only a couple people watching right now. In 1 more minute, 60 seconds more, and then I will send you all the link. You can follow along. Only Anthony gets to code until we need some help, in which case we can have anyone code. Anthony, are you in front of a laptop? You'll need your typing digits for this. At the same time, this is part of the promise that I made in the $0 data science Bible video that I just went up yesterday, that I will be live streaming every day this week to help you walk through the Kaggle Micro Python course. This, of course, will be more advanced Python methods that Anthony will be trying out today. Normally, we would have someone walk through their their thought process through the interview. That's going to happen later this week. Today we're just going to try the live streaming function of YouTube, and then we had a successful literal like person-to-person interview through Hangouts earlier today at noon, at which same answered this question. So we're going to have a very similar one where you can hear the interviewer and the interviewee interact later on this week. So join in for that. If you haven't, if you're just watching here from any part of the internet, go ahead and subscribe, because there is going to be tons of content exactly like this. This is probably going to be the most real, raw, and uncut. But for now, we're going to begin. Anthony, I'm going to send you a code for this coder pad. My name is Andrew from DataLIVE. Let's get started. Here is your code, Anthony. Of course, if you are not named Anthony, you can easily jump on and watch this. You can also be on the coder pad. I trust that we'll get along well together. Anthony, whenever you join, we'll get started. Oh, there you are. Anthony, welcome, welcome. Okay, so get those typing fingers ready, because I'm going to interact with you as if I'm an interviewer here. And this is going to be as simple as it can get. We're going to try and solve a Craigslist munging question. If you have watched one of my videos, my first video actually about corgi hoodies, you would actually get to the heart of this answer. But even if you know how to solve this answer, we will get it a little complex just for the people to learn a little more about intermediate to more difficult questions that can be asked in these interviews. Anthony, if you're ready, the premise is you are going to be munging cleaning this data set of phone numbers. So here's one of these phone numbers in a string. This string is going to have maybe 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to throw in some numeric values as well. So 4, 5, and then back and forth, right? You don't know, you can't really expect if it's going to be written out in English or it's going to be the actual numerics, but I want the output of this function that you're going to define here. I want that output to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Note that it's still a string, but we want that to be the output from here. So let me actually zoom in. Ooh. Okay, Anthony. Go through your thought process over in the chat, if you would be so kind. And whenever you're ready, go ahead and start coding. We're going to have some input-output lag as I finish explaining, and then Anthony watches the live stream with a 20-second delay. What I'm going to do to, we're all learning, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send Anthony a Hangout link. So Anthony, if you can join this Hangout link, then we'll be more live. Maybe we can talk to each other. Aha, so you know about regex. So Anthony is talking about the fact that this might be a regex kind of solution. No need for regex, Anthony. Let's go with a brute force method, something as dumb as bricks in terms of an algorithm's complexity. If you're just joining us, this is a Silicon Valley interview question. We want to simulate the interviewer-interviewee process as much as possible. I just sent, so Anthony is our fellow interviewee here. I sent him a Hangouts link so that we can have less latency between the two of us and we can talk. And if he joins, then I will unplug my headphones so you can hear him speak. Hey, okay, I hear him. Anthony, welcome to the live stream.
Thank you, thank you.
If everyone can hear him okay, we're going to try to make sure there's as little feedback as possible. Anthony, you think that this question is daunting? I
Um, it is it's a different scope from what I'm used to working with. That's for sure.
That's fair enough. This has nothing to do with natural language processing. This has nothing to do with a very complex regex solution. What I want to do is give you hints as long as you walk through this to show that anybody from any amount of Python experience can get to the answer here. The hint I'm going to give you is, what if there was a dictionary mapping the values that would be the values you want to have be a key and map directly to the values that you're looking for?
Okay. All right. Yeah, that feels like a pretty solid hint. There's only a certain amount of numbers that can go into each digit for a phone number.
That's right.
So, yeah, I think let's see if we can come up with something based off of that. So, do you see what I'm typing in the console, or is it only the output?
Oh, here's the console over here. Go ahead. And we can always just play around in pseudocode, but if you're ready for the real console, let's go for it.
I've actually never used this platform before, so I don't know if my end is okay, here we go.
Hey, there we go.
I didn't know that I could be on that end. My bad.
No problem. Yep. So this is the actual platform that you will be using in a Silicon Valley interview. I've had this many times. They just send you a CoderPad link, and getting used to this interface now is going to be a great asset to you. Okay, so we're creating a phone dictionary.
Yeah, so let's see, I'm trying to think of whether or not I want to just brute force it like you said, or try and come up with something snazzy to create the keys. I think for now I'll keep it simple and just do a mapping.
Sure.
So, let's see. One. Trying to think, because I can map it to the phone number, but it also needs to stay a string.
Okay.
Obviously there's a Python function for returning it back to a string, but I think a mapping of just the number, or just the string of the number, should be fine for right now.
So what Anthony's touching upon is the fact that you want to start with maybe a brute force understanding of the problem, just to show that there a worst case scenario for the solution. In this case, this is actually the best case scenario for this solution. Creating a dictionary like this is very low overhead, only 10 elements, and you are going to be able to use this again as a small hint of how this will benefit you not only once but twice later on this interview. Okay, so like I said, we'll play around with pseudocode. Let's pretend that you have created this dictionary. Everyone kind of follows what's happening here. If you don't, please drop some comments in the chat. Let's say that we ... finish this dictionary. And now, with this function that I've defined as answer, the input is going to be the phone number up here. Can you start walking me through how you would use this dictionary up here to arrive at the output that we've described up here?
So I think the best solution, or maybe not necessarily the best solution, I think a possible solution for going through this dictionary and checking to see if there's if there's a key within the phone number input, so which would be our what is it, actual number word, not the number string itself. I think maybe using a let's see, key value in enumerators of the phone dictionary would probably be a decent solution for right now. And then you check your string to see if there's if the key matches up to the value in the string. Do you want me to be typing this out?
That's up to you. So you're touching on a really good point, right? What does the interview want? What does the interviewer want out of this interaction? It seems like they're talking to you face to face, but they also want you to be typing and talking. Talking out your thought process before you start typing, that's method number one, totally valid, right? Give me an understanding of how to solve this from your point of view, because obviously the interviewer has done this many times, right? For me, it's a couple dozen times. I know exactly what you mean when you refer to running a for loop and then checking whether or not something's in a list of keys or list of values. So that's a perfectly valid way to go about it, and it makes it so that you can talk and communicate without going too far down the wrong path. So no need to code if you don't feel comfortable, but if you can combine all three, that is the golden standard for where we're going. If you can type in pseudocode and also be able to communicate your thought process, that's golden. For now, enumerating this phone dictionary is an interesting way to go forward, but how about this would only move through the dictionary itself. Let's move through our input string instead.
Okay. So in that case, we'd want to probably start with trying to think. I can't actually remember if using the list function is going to create just one list from the string, or you could probably even do take the phone number string and do a split on the empty space, and I think that'll return a list for each character.
So Ajayan in the chat has already arrived at the same conclusion that you have. So good job, you guys. Split, the function, if you guys aren't familiar with this method, being familiar with these methods are honestly going to be one of the best ways to stay on top of these more complex solutions. So let's play with the inside the environment right here. We're going to implement this code that Anthony has just worked out. Over here, in this terminal, we see that phone number.split turns the string and delimits on the empty space. Now, a fun fact that you guys can take home is that if you actually don't include a delimiter, the default delimiter is empty space. So you can, over here, move to the code, take this whole thing out, and this will come out with the same output. Excellent. So assigning this to a variable is the first step.
All right, so then we'll make this number list. So now we have our number list, and then we're going to want to iterate through that to see. We're going to want to iterate through that list and match, or not necessarily match, maybe find values, I guess is the better way to say it, find values that match the keys in our dictionary. So
sounds good to me.
Comment that out for now. But sorry, that's just force of habit.
No problem. You're doing great.
So we could trying to think of what the best dictionary method might actually be to use here.
So I will say it's a lot simpler than you think. You can just call it when you think it's inside the keys of the dictionary, and just call it for its value.
Okay. So thinking that it would be number in number list, so we'll iterate through the values, and then
excellent.
We're going to check if number is in our dictionary keys, and then if that's true, we're going to want to. All right, now here's where I'm trying to think of how we want to change the value.
Okay.
And reassign it.
Let me help your syntax here real quick.
Oh, whoops, my bad.
No problem.
I've been messing around with the different programs lately.
And that's always a good practice. Keeping it all straight in your head.
All right, yeah. So if number in phone dict keys.
So can anybody help him inside the chat?
Sorry, I haven't even been paying attention to the chat. My bad.
No problem. It's been pretty quiet, but we have a couple of people watching. Thank you for joining. And hello, Saket. If you want me to mispronounce your name, I'm happy to do that. Right now we have Anthony C here solving this real Silicon Valley interview question. Here we're solving it on CoderPad, which is the actual environment you would be solving it in. And he has gotten, I would say, around 60-70% of the way of solving this in a brute force method. Let's see what the chat is saying. So Michael and Gordon are responding. Michael says, what about returning an empty string? Okay, and Gordon says, create empty list outside of the for loop. I agree with Gordon. How about we create an empty list so that you can start appending to a return value? We can just call it, yeah.
We'll call it new number. So then, if it's in the phone dict keys, then we're going to want to append.
Everyone's starting to chat now. Hey, that's good. Let's get the community talking.
All right, yeah. No, they're a huge help right now.
Wouldn't it be nice if interviews were like this? You just had a little cheerleading squad.
Yeah, it would make things easier. So much. All right, so I believe this is what's required for the if statement. Let me walk through this. So if the number is in the value of keys, then we're going to append the value from the dictionary to our list.
Okay, and what if it's not in your keys?
Else.
Thank you, Ashley. Ashley said you can do it.
Thank you. If it's not in the list, then we want to just append. And we're just going to want to append the same value.
Hey, that's good. Anybody have any problems with that in the chat? Looking good to me. So while the chat responds, I'm going to let you in on a great live debugging method, right? What you want to do is down here, right? Maybe we'll comment this out and say debugging purposes only. And then we want to start going through any loop that we create and then tracking what the values are at any individual section. So we, for example, we have an input here, right? That's not going to change. But we do have this number here that will change as we iterate through this list. And then we have new number, which changes constantly. So let's start walking through this list. So we have 1. Right, so number equals 1 when new number equals nothing. Actually, it's an empty list, right? And then, I cannot spell 1. When it's 1, it will be inside this. It will satisfy this logic gate, and it will be inside the keys here, and you will be able to append it to this list. So then we append the value of this dictionary, so it's 1. And now we can move on to 2. When it's 2, same thing will happen. So this is going to append down here to 2. And this may seem like it's a bit of a stretch, but it's really helpful when you have more complex questions. And it's just a good sanity check to show employers that, hey, you know what you're doing and you know how to run through your code and be as careful as possible. When it comes to 4, it's going to fall outside of this logic gate condition and move here instead, whereas you're going to append here at this number. Okay, and ... of course, as we move all the way to 6 and 7. Excellent. Do you, what is missing here in this function? I'll let you continue.
In the overall function or in the debugging part that we're in?
No, this debugging part is rock solid. Let's continue with the function itself. Let's complete it.
Okay, so yeah, so following our logic, everything in our string will be appended, but what we still have is a list of strings when we want to actually join them all, and we want to return it as a string instead of a list.
Okay.
So let's see. I think we want to do on the commas. So oh wait, I'll keep it like that for now. So back to this debugging part. I think that would result in new number being equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, etc.
So a giant, once again, I'll mispronounce your name for fun. Not for fun. Ajayan and Michael have 2 great thoughts in the chat, but we'll talk about their method later. Let's see what happens when you use this. There are sometimes methods that obviously you knew about join. This is unfortunately the wrong syntax. The syntax would be taking the argument of the new number here. And of course, a list doesn't actually have commas in it. It would be joining on an empty string. Because if you join on comma instead, it would just have each number with its commas inside. So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 as one big string. So this is the output. And one last thing for functions, right? We have to return.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. You were awesome, Anthony. I'm going to shout you out in my next big video. Thank you for volunteering, and I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Let's have you next time, too. So I'm going to turn off the Hangout here. I'll talk to you in the live stream itself. Okay, so now back to what Michael and Adrian were saying. They were saying that we can just use the plus equal for the string itself. So let me quickly go through that. If the number is inside this keys, we could easily take new number, right? This time it has to be a empty string, and then just add it to the number itself. If you add a string to itself, it will just append it at the end of the string. Same thing down here, actually. Different thing, because this needs to go through the dictionary. And there we go. Now we don't have to have a join down here. We can just put the number down here. So this is more efficient because now it's a one pass through the iteration, the elements themselves. We'll talk about time complexity and space complexity in a future video, but as of right now, you notice that this number didn't need to join, did not need to pass through each element again, and therefore it is only that much more efficient in terms of time complexity than Anthony's solution. But thank you so much, Anthony, for solving that. that. Let me solve this in one line with a list comprehension. Now, I would never recommend this on an interview, but just to show how elegant this solution can be in production code, you would want to take number, and then, so for phone number, a list comprehension, you can pass a for loop and a logic gate inside. So this exact same code, I'm just going to write in one line of code. So it's going to return, let's see, phone dit, and then take the number itself for number in phone number if number in phone number dot split else number. And then, of course, this is still a list, so you would dot join. And there it is in one line of Python. List comprehensions are just syntactic sugar for this code up here. So this code is perfectly fine. It's not more efficient. Oh, you guys can't see that code. There you guys. My big head was blocking it. So that's all the time we have for CoderPad today. We are going to iterate on different versions of this question. It's going to be a completely different session next time as we jump through this. If you have more questions, please leave them in the comments of this video, leave them in the comments of any of the videos. I answer every single comment. I appreciate you guys that have already subscribed. If you haven't, you're missing out on a ton of good data science education. Today is a good day to start data science, and if you have 5 minutes a day, you honestly, even no matter how much Python, SQL, or statistical methods you know, it's always a good day to continue learning with data science. If you want to be part of the Discord that Kenji has created that connects data scientists from across the entire globe, please let me know in the comments below. But if there are no more questions, then I'm just going to stay here for 5 more minutes and answer some comments here. Michael is asking, how often are CoderPads? This is cool. CoderPads are pretty much ubiquitous. They're all over the place. The most low tech I've ever seen is someone just opened up a Google Doc and we just started texting there. It's going to be the same. You should be able to know how to run through this pretty well. This can code in a whole mess of different languages, and of course, sometime this week we're going to go through a MySQL and PostgreSQL question. IGN says, please continue the series. I certainly will, and I'll continue to mispronounce everyone's names, and there's going to be more corgis involved as well. If you guys have recommendations for when I should have these live streams, I'm going to vary our timing this week so that more people can see this. I know it's like 6:30 a.m. in India. I'm going to try my best to find a time that works for everyone. But if there aren't any more comments... Oh, how often will I be doing this? I'll be doing this every single day of this week. And if that goes well, I'll be doing a whole lot more. But yes, SQL, Python are the two bread and butter languages you will be tested on. A technical interview will probably run through a whole gambit, depending on what stage of the interview process you're in. The most basic technical interviews are still going to have 3 or 4 questions in SQL and Python. The dreaded take-home in Silicon Valley will probably have a whole mess, probably 10 or 12 different questions that you'll get to use Google and crack open a textbook for. But most of the time, you probably won't be able to depend on the internet to code and get your answers quickly. So learning all of these methods ahead of time is key. Awesome. Well, happy Tuesday, happy Wednesday if it's Wednesday for you. And this is Andrew from DataLIVE signing off. Peace.